Hey yo, thanks for tuning in to The Source, your source for celebrity news. Check this out. The other day I did a video in which I shared all of the celebrities who lost their homes in the California wildfires. And mad people came into the comment section and they were like, Source, I don't give a cuff about them rich people losing their homes. To which I just sat here and read through the comment section and I was just shaking my head because I was like, yo, do y'all not realize that an area the size of Miami has burnt down in California and everybody who lives in California is not rich? And then, for some strange reason, you got a whole bunch of people coming in the comment section talking about Source. How come you not talking about the normal people? Now, I don't think that some of y'all really understand how the YouTube algorithm works. I can't go from talking about celebrities to all of a sudden the next day telling you about some dude named Taquan Jackson who lost his house in the fires. It doesn't work that way. So, in order for me to talk about a relevant story that doesn't have to do with celebrities, I still have to talk about celebrities. Why? Because the sector that you're in and also the history of your past videos dictates how YouTube pushes the algorithm. So I have to mention things like the fact that Nicki Minaj and her family have now been forced to evacuate her California home because the fires are getting extremely close to her crib in order for you to be able to see this video.
California wildfires have destroyed a lot of homes, caused a lot of loss and devastation, and honestly, my heart goes out to everyone. With that being said, I don't know what they gotta do, but they better protect this one. I will go fight the fire myself.
Nicki's fans be killing me because they're mad loyal, and you know darn well that if they thought that they could save Nicki's house from this fire, they would be out there doing a bucket line like the firemen used to do in the 1900s. Now, with that being said, I also have to share stories with you like the fact that Tyga has decided that he's going to leave the US until all of these fires blow over. Why? Because the air pollution in California is just too bad. Check this out.
Yeah, so we back today. So yesterday I had to stop the stream yesterday because obviously you know, LA is on fire right now and everything was like close to my house, so I had got warnings on my phone. They kept going off and I was like, you know what, I gotta get out of here. I gotta pack, get everybody out of here so everybody's safe. So I like went to like Orange County last night, and then this morning I saw that like my area was okay for right now. It's just really the fires aren't right next to my house right this second, so I was able to come back. But the air quality is really, really bad. So a lot of people that I know are like leaving LA. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people went to like Vegas. A lot of people like went to Palm Springs, Orange County. But the air quality is really bad. Even if the fire isn't close to you, like when I walked outside yesterday, it was like ashes everywhere, all on the cars. Like it was literally ashes everywhere in the air, and it was like really, really hard to breathe. So if you outside, make sure you got a mask for sure. You know what I'm saying? If you go outside, it's better to stay in the house if you in LA, but if you are outside, make sure you got a mask on because you might not see the effects right this second, but they saying like the air can cause like cancer and all type of lung problems later down the line. So shout out to the firefighters and everybody still out there trying to contain the fires. Definitely the biggest, craziest thing that happened in LA. It's very devastating, you know what I'm saying? So I was able to come back. We had to end the stream, but I was able to come back for a little bit, hang out with y'all. You know what I'm saying? We gonna chill today, but I'm actually leaving. I'm leaving the country today. I'm out of here. I'm not even fucking around. I'm not even gonna play with it. You know what I'm saying? Like until like everything gets good and you know what I'm saying, safe for LA.
Listen, let me tell you something. If I was Tyga, I would be getting out of Dodge too. And I'm gonna tell you why. As soon as these fires started, the local officials in California should have been out there handing out N95 masks to all of those people who are out there right now. Because if we learned anything from 9/11, it's this. When all of those buildings and all of those houses go up in flames, all types of toxic materials, chemicals, and soot is released into the atmosphere. And all of those people in California right now, including the first responders, are breathing that mess in. And we all know that within like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, all of those things cause an uptick in cancer and all types of diseases. I mean, think about it. Think about all of the chemicals, cleaning agents, perfumes, gases, fertilizers, everything that you store in your house. And then multiply that by like 10,000. And then imagine all of that stuff commingling in the air, mixing with some soot and ash, and then going up your nose. I swear, about 10 years from now, mark my words, we're going to see a secondary die-off based on this singular event. So, do you see what I'm doing here? For all of the people in my comment section talking about Source, you just like all of these other bloggers, because you talking about celebrities and you ain't talking about the regular people. Do you see what I'm doing here? I'm trying to give you some serious information in the midst of giving you celebrity gossip too, because that's the way YouTube is set up. And because my channel is set up as a gossip channel, I just can't get on here and all of a sudden start talking about the fire at your Auntie Shirley's house. And I know, somebody's gonna come in the comment section like, Source, you full of shit, because Don Lemon be talking about it, and also, I was watching Lovely T, and she was talking about the fires. Listen, do you understand that Don Lemon is a global news reporter with mad respect, and YouTube lets him get away with things that they don't let the Source get away with? And also, Lovely T has been on YouTube for like 462 years, and she has 1 million subscribers, so her algorithm is different than mine. So, she can do things that I can't do. For example, the news channels can show you the fire, but I can't because I'm not registered on YouTube as a news channel. Therefore, I can't just go from talking about Cardi B on Tuesday and Wednesday and then all of a sudden on Thursday start talking about these fires without YouTube suppressing my video. Therefore, if I want you to see my video where I'm talking about the fires and I'm giving you information, I have to discuss it from a celebrity perspective. For example, I have to share stories with you like the fact that Niecy Nash's house was saved from the fires because the people in her neighborhood actually went out and patrolled the community and found some of the arsonists who were actually out there setting fires in her neck of the woods.
I just want to thank everyone who prayed for us. So far, they have lifted the evacuation immediately from where we live. Our bags are packed. We're ready to go just in case, but there were citizens in our neighborhood that caught the person who they believe started the fires near where we are. Very, very grateful for that. And I just feel my heart is so heavy for people who have lost everything, and it's just a hard place to be in, you know. And I am overwhelmed, and I am grateful. I feel like in a way I have survivor's remorse. I am just so sorry for the people who have lost their homes and are suffering in ways that are unimaginable. And I am definitely keeping you all in our prayers. These are trying times. It's hard to believe that human beings could be this cruel. But yeah.
Now, once I address some dumbness like the fact that mad people online believe that P. Diddy set these fires to cover up his crimes, or mad people think that these fires are conspiracies because how do houses on the water burn down? Then I can discuss serious issues pertaining to the black community. For example, I can start talking about the fact that I was very dismayed with the amount of people who came in my comment section talking about source. Who cares about these celebrities' houses burning down? Let California burn. Listen, for all of you people who came in my comment section who were basically like, the roof is on fire. We don't give a cuff. Let the mother cuffer burn, baby. Let me ask you guys a question. Some of y'all in the comment section were very comfortable saying that you didn't care whether or not the celebrities' $3, $4, $5 million houses burned down because they have more money than you and they can just buy another one. And y'all were like, cuff them rich ninjas. They can just buy a new house. Alright, so my question is this. If your house was on fire that you paid like $300,000, $400,000 for, I mean, you worked mad hard to get your house. If your house was on fire, burning down to the ground, all the way to the ash, and you were standing there crying and you were like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I lost my house. And then you turned around and there was like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 homeless people who lived in boxes who were less fortunate than you, standing there laughing, talking about... F you rich ninja. You can afford to get a hotel. How would you feel? Please, let me know your answer in the comment section. And while you're down there leaving a comment, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And also, really quick, check out what this TikToker has to say to all of you people who have the mindset that because they're rich, they can just buy another house.
Oh, they rich. They can buy another house. Their house burnt down. They can buy another house. What a stupid scarcity mindset. That mindset right there, you know, that's a scarcity mindset. That's the type of mindset that keep people stuck, that have you unable to grow, that have you robbing Peter to pay Paul. You see, wealth doesn't make someone immune to loss or losing it all, their house burning down. You think because they rich and you're not, that they don't have pain too? Like losing a house, whether it's a mansion or a 1-bedroom apartment, it still hurts because it's not necessarily the building that they lost, but it's the memories, it's the stability, it's the safety. Goofy. Dismissing their pain because they have the means to rebuild is just mean. It's not nice. I mean, and it really and truly reveals a poverty mindset. You see, a scarcity mindset keeps you focusing on what you lack that other people got. It really keeps you bitter. It keeps you small and it keeps you stuck. But let me tell you about abundance. Abundance has compassion. Okay, abundance, see, these rich people losing their home, and by the way, it's not just rich people, but for the sake of this conversation, abundance shows compassion towards the rich as well as the not so rich. It's like, it's about understanding. It's about being thankful for what you have instead of dogging people for what you don't have, because that's all it is. So if you have caught yourself saying or looking at this devastation that's going on in California, and if you're thinking or even had the thought, oh, they can just build again, they're wealthy, I need you to stop for a moment and think about this. I'm gonna help you shift your mindset. I want you to think about one thing that you're grateful for right now. One thing that you're grateful for right now. I'm grateful that I get to go home to my house that's not burning down. I'm grateful for this air that I get to breathe that's not polluted by smoke. I'm grateful for this life that I get to live. And if you really want to grow, you must stop judging other people's blessings and start working on getting your own. Okay? And to the people of California, we're praying for your peace. We're praying for your safety. We're praying for your restoration. No matter what you've lost, I pray that you find hope and strength during this devastation. I'm praying for you, California. I'm praying for you.
Also, let me add this. For all of the people who are like, yeah, you know, it's sad, but what about the people in New Orleans? And what about the people in North Carolina? And what about the people in Africa? And what about the people in Puerto Rico? You do know that empathy is not something that, like, if you use it once, you can't use it again. I mean, I don't get it. I don't understand this newfangled thing where people are like, yeah, I empathized with Ted the other day because, you know, he was going through a little something. So I don't have no empathy left for you. I mean, what is that? Now, for the rest of the people who came in my comment section talk about source, I could care less about these fires. You know why? because this right here is white people's problems. Listen, do you not understand that 1, empathy should not be predicated based on the color of your skin? And then 2, do you also not understand that celebrities aren't the only people who live in California, and that there's a large low-income population and middle-class income population of black people who also live in the area, due to the fact that between 1916 and the 1970s, mad black people migrated from the South to other places such as New York, Chicago, and California.
The Great Migration in Black America, which took place from 1916 to 1970. Black Americans left slave states. They went to New York City, where my family went to, Los Angeles, California, Los Angeles, California, Los Angeles, California, Los Angeles, California, Chicago, Illinois, Detroit, Michigan, Cleveland, Ohio, and Harlem turned into the cultural hub.
For context, this is a map of the Great Migration of black people in America. Black folk would pick up anything they could, the possessions that they could carry, and they would migrate from the South to the Northeast, the Midwest, and the West. As you can imagine, this was to escape the black codes, Jim Crow, racial segregation, and to pursue economic and educational opportunities. The major factors contributing to the Great Migration were World War I and World War II. The men went overseas to fight, and there were tons of industrial jobs and labor left open and vacant. This led to the Red Summer of 1919, when these white soldiers returned home, saw that their jobs were taken by black folk, and this resulted in mass racial terrorism and tension. Thousands of black people were killed, and World War I veterans were even lynched in their service uniforms. Overall, the Great Migration is one of the largest documented mass movements of people in North American history.
As many black people fled the Jim Crow South during the Great Migration, Altadena was one of the only places in California that had land for sale free of redlining. In the 1950s and era of Jim Crow, redlining was a way to keep financial resources away from black people and black neighborhoods. Also, the iconic Octavia Butler was from Altadena and was buried there. Black homeownership was prominent, allowing black families to build generational assets. To see street after street just completely burned to the ground is utterly devastating. The Eaton Fire just annihilated a huge part of black history in Altadena.
One neighborhood is the one that now lays among the thousands of acres of land, houses, and communities set aflame by the Los Angeles wildfires, the historically black neighborhood of Altadena, California. Altadena became a safe space for blacks during the Great Migration, migrating from southern cities to the north and west. Specifically, blacks were dealing with redlining, a discriminatory practice that prevented black people from accessing financial services such as mortgages. For example, from 1934 to 1968, 90% of home loans were given to white families, offering black families little chance to acquire land, build homes, and create generational wealth amid systemic oppression. With Altadena's open spaces and affordability compared with neighboring Pasadena, it made it an attractive destination. By the 1920s and 30s, a thriving black community had flourished, overcoming restrictive housing covenants to create a rich cultural and social network. Altadena eventually developed a reputation as a haven for black professionals, educators, and creatives. A notable author who lived in Altadena was Octavia Butler, whose 1993 novel, Parable of the Sower, imagined a future in which California is inhospitable. The weather is deadly, wealth disparities are vicious, and a presidential candidate might set the country back 100 years. The book opens, we are in July of 2024, and then it goes through 2025, 2026, and 2027. In her book, the fictional city of Robledo is a struggling walled suburb of Los Angeles, besieged by severe drought, class wars, violence, fire-setting scavengers, and a long tormented population seized by political apathy. But Butler said that she didn't profess to be a prophetess, but said that she was simply paying attention to the state of the world.
Now, for all y'all out there who still don't get it, who are like, yo, who cares? Let me share the story of 83-year-old Walt, who lost everything, including his house, in the Altadena fires.
What did you love and lose in the fire?
I lost everything. From a guy with everything to nothing. I spent my whole life helping people, and I didn't think it would happen to me, but it did. But I have my health in my life. about 10 or 12 years ago. I was going home, going up late, and I see this person sitting on the bench shaking, which I knew him anyway because I coached him when he was in high school. He says, "Where's your jacket?" He says, "Coach, I don't have one." I said, "Okay, go back." Now I ended up giving all of my jackets away. A lot of people helped me when I was a kid. So that makes a difference. I used to have a sporting goods store. Then I started giving away shoes because when I was going to elementary school, I prayed many days because my shoes had holes in them that it wouldn't rain. So it's short of money, I give them the shoes anyway. The young man today drove at least 200 or 300 people to see their houses, and I offered to give him some money for gas. He says, "No, I won't take it, Walt, because you wouldn't take it." Maybe he's gonna be my replacement, which wouldn't be bad, you know. I'm one of these dumb guys that think you can save the world. I would think that way till I die. I've been knocked down before, but not like this. Times are tough, but I'm not giving up.
Listen, as you can see, good people who've worked their entire lives to build a little something and also keep a roof over their heads have been knocked down in this fire. And then you got people sitting at home on their computers eating some Skittles, talking about, who cares? Oh my goodness, how inhumane can you be? Now, as you can see, Octavia Butler basically prophesied these fires. And I'm going to give you another prophecy because this is what's going to happen next. And this is why it's very important that black people pay attention to what's going on in California. About a year ago, a whole bunch of insurance companies pulled out of California because they were like, listen, it's too risky. Leaving a whole bunch of homeowners, especially people in historically black neighborhoods, without homeowners insurance. Now, a lot of these people just didn't move to California 10 years ago, but instead they were grandfathered into their houses by their parents and their grandparents and their great-grandparents who were slaves who migrated to California from the South during the Great Migration. So, a whole bunch of these people who live in California and are living there mortgage-free because their houses are paid for, if they tried to buy a property in California today, they couldn't do it. But because their houses were left to them, they're able to prosper. And many of them were able to climb the social ladder in order to access the middle class. But now that the houses are gone, burned down to the ground, most of them are not going to be able to rebuild because the insurance is not going to cover it, and they can't afford to buy another property in the same area or in any other area. So what's going to happen is a whole bunch of black families are going to go from being middle class to being poor, and then a whole bunch of white contractors are going to move into the area, take over the land, and then gentrify it so that more rich white people can have bigger section blocks and lots, and also more rich white businesses can take over what used to be historically black neighborhoods. We saw it happen in Brooklyn, New York, we saw it happen in New Orleans, and we also saw it happen in Washington, D.C. I mean, if you go visit Washington, D.C. now, what used to be the chocolate city is like vanilla with a few chocolate sprinkles. So, to everybody who came in my comment section talking about Source, I don't give a cuff about these forest fires. This is a white problem. You better start paying attention like Smokey the Bear, because after they finish displacing people from African American neighborhoods like Altadena, a whole bunch of these real estate moguls are going to be thinking about ways to displace you too. Which is why, instead of turning a blind eye to what's going on in California and being like, I don't give a cuff, you need to be paying attention, and you also need to be supporting people like Tyler Perry who are out here calling out these insurance companies.
Back in March, State Farm announced that they would not be renewing coverage for some people. So in a non-renewal letter provided to the State Farm said that the 30,000 property insurance policyholders who are being dropped across California in areas deemed to present the most substantial wildfire or fire following earthquake hazards. This decision obviously couldn't have come at a worse time since these California fires are not letting up. Tyler Perry shared a post on his social media to call the insurance companies out. He said, watching a daughter use a garden hose to try and protect her 90-year-old parents' home because their insurance was canceled was gut-wrenching to me. Does anyone else find it appalling that insurance companies can take billions of dollars out of communities for years and then all of a sudden be allowed to cancel millions of policies for the very people that they became rich on. People who have paid premiums all of their lives are left with nothing because of pure greed.
Yeah. The insurance market crisis is going to be the biggest thing once the fires die out. That's what's going to hurt homeowners and taxpayers across Cali the most.
The sad thing about it is the government's going to bail out the insurance companies like they bailed out the automotive industry a couple of years ago, but it's the regular people like this lady that's probably going to lose her house or all the destruction that gets hurt the most. But he's right. You pay these insurance companies for 10 years, 12 years, you never make a claim, and now they're saying we're forecasting fires, so we're going to drop you? Yeah, people will be pissed the F off.
Tyler Perry did say he's in the process of trying to figure out how, what steps he can take to help as many people as he can. And he's keeping everybody in his prayers.
Everybody always wants to compartmentalize these things instead of acknowledging it's not just one thing or one person that leads to these situations. They want to point a finger. Right. Hey, I mean, you got climate change, you got wealth inequality, you got billionaires not paying their fair share of taxes, so people don't have the resources they need. Poor leadership from both parties over the years. Like, the whole system been out of whack. And we're reminded of that whenever it's, tragedies like this or a COVID or whatever it is.
But you got to point a little finger, right? You got to point a finger at...
Not to just one person.
Not at one
person. It's a multitude of things.
But if there's no water in the fire hydrants, right? Who was the one that was checking it to make sure that there was water in there? Because it's not the first time they had fires, the first time this bad, but they had fires before. So, when the fire department's going to these fire hydrants and there is no water, whose fault is that? I know in New York, they check the fire hydrants every couple of months to make sure that it is pouring water. You know what I mean? So who checks these fire hydrants, especially in places where these fires happen?
I don't know whose fault it is. I just know it's not one person.
Now, let me say this, because what DJ Envy just did right there is pass along a piece of false information. And I've noticed, watching the news, that a whole lot of people out there are trying to blame the destruction for all of these fires on a black woman, aka Mayor Karen Bass. First off, this false narrative that there was no water in California is just nonsense, because according to the Water Authority, the reservoirs were filled to capacity. However, when everybody was experiencing fires at the same time and everybody turned on like their sprinklers and their water hoses and everything else, the pressure in the system was not strong enough to get that water where it needed to be. Now, that is not a Karen Bass problem, that is a problem with California's infrastructure. And Karen Bass, during her terms in office, cannot fix all of the waterways in California that were created ever since the state became a state in 1850. I mean, come on. Sometimes you gotta knock it off with all of this partisan politics. Karen Bass has only been a mayor of LA for like 2 years. So, you mean to tell me you expected Karen Bass to fix every waterway in LA in 2 years? Knock it off.
Why did this hydrant run out of water in the middle of a firefight? That's the big question everyone's asking. Of course, the blame game has already started, but as an engineering channel, we're here to dig into the facts. We'll explain how this system works and why it failed, leaving the hydrant dry in just a couple of hours. There are a few key issues. One is that the water pressure dropped after just 40 minutes because of how much water was being used. Before we discuss why the hydrant went dry, let's first understand the basic engineering of how it works. Although fire hydrants may appear simple on the surface, their functionality depends on a complex system hidden below ground. The structure begins with a concrete support base, which provides stability for the joint restraining gland. This gland secures the connection between the hydrant and its branch pipe, ensuring durability and resistance to pressure. The hydrant branch is then connected to a gate valve, which regulates the flow of water. This valve is enclosed by a valve box capped with a lid for accessibility. At the core of the system is the main supply line, which links the hydrant to a water tank or reservoir. These wet hydrants rely entirely on the main water supply and are interconnected with hundreds of other hydrants throughout the network. During a fire, multiple hydrants may draw from the same water supply simultaneously. While this interconnected design ensures wide coverage, it also means that high demand can overwhelm the system, leading to reduced pressure or even a complete loss of water flow. Understanding this engineering highlights the importance of maintaining robust water supply systems to support effective firefighting operations. The water system faced unprecedented pressure, experiencing 4 times its normal demand during the California fire. In just a 40-minute period, emergency services called for 40 strike teams of engines, equating to approximately 200 fire engines. To put this into perspective, these 200 engines were simultaneously connected to fire hydrants, all attempting to draw water from the same system at the same time. However, the water pipes are only designed to accommodate a limited flow. An additional issue arises when hydrants are located in uphill areas. These systems rely heavily on water tanks to provide enough pressure to push water through pipes to both homes and fire hydrants in elevated locations. When water levels in these tanks drop too low, the system loses the ability to maintain sufficient pressure. Without this necessary pressure, hydrants in uphill areas become non-functional, further hampering firefighting operations and leaving critical areas vulnerable.
Listen, let me know in the comment section below. Do you think that it's fair to hold Karen Bass responsible for the fact that LA's waterway system and infrastructure was not set up to deal with the pressure that was brought on by these wildfires? Now, hopefully, now that I've explained it, you now understand why I can't just jump on here and just start talking about the quote-unquote normal people. It doesn't work that way. In order for a celebrity gossip channel like this to be able to tell you relevant stories about what's going on with our black folk in Altadena, I have to use segues like this.
So y'all know all that fire and shit going on in California. So allegedly, P. Diddy's mansion in California has been completely consumed by fire. It should be noted that the house will be under investigation in a couple of days where many names will be involved in the case. Unfortunately, that will no longer be possible. Baby, ain't this convenient? And like, I don't know how true this is, but if it is true, like, these motherfucking rich people be knowing what the fuck they doing. He probably was like, the motherfucking California on fire, girl, set their motherfucking house ablaze. And the crazy part about it, if you looking at this picture, like, if this is a real picture, like, it's crazy how, like, ain't none of the grass on fire, just the house. Baby, if this is real, you set that motherfucker on fire. You had somebody to set the motherfucker on fire. Like, I'm not buying it. Now, if he did have, like, nothing to do with the house being set on fire, baby, like, you got the best luck ever, girl. Like, you might just get off.
Segues like that enable me to be able to talk about more important things, like the fact that Altadena, which was a once thriving black community, has now been burnt down to the ash. However, the citizens of Altadena in other places are not getting the help and support that they need because people who don't really know the history really think that California is simply a place where rich celebrities live. And let me tell you why this false belief is just absolutely horrible. Because foundations that are on the ground trying to help out African American families who are in need really need your help.
Today in Altadena, there are doorways, stairways, entryways into emptiness, and storefronts, portals, and windows into ruin.
There's nothing left, and I've been here for about an hour and a half, and I don't want to leave, so everything that we know and love is gone. Not just this house, my whole city gone, man. The whole thing, like everything, my whole neighborhood, everything that I grew up to love and know is burnt up.
Yesterday when I posted the spreadsheet to help the black families in LA, there were 5 families on that list that had reached their goal out of 205 families. Not only were 150 more families added to that spreadsheet, now when you look at the spreadsheet, over 20 plus families reached their goal. And if you look at the spreadsheet, the organizers color coded it yellow, orange, light green, and dark green. And if you look at all of the light green, which is indicative of people that are nearing their goal, it's countless families. And that's a matter of folks like y'all showing up, sharing the resources, donating to help other people. That's what community looks like.
Listen, like I said before, there are people in California who really need your help right now. And if you can't help out monetarily, just say a prayer. But please, stop jumping online talking about, I don't give a cuff, because that right there is not a good look. And if I can tell you one thing, it's this: God don't like ugly, whether you're rich or whether you're poor. Hey yo, thanks for tuning in to The Source, your source for celebrity news. Peace.